Mayor, welcome to the program here. Here we are at the end of the year, first 6 months down in the books as mayor of San Antonio. What did you not expect about this position that you've already faced?
Well, I didn't realize it'd be having so much fun. No, look, I am so honored to lead my hometown. We've got some great opportunities, certainly in our community, but as we were just talking, we've got some economic challenges, certainly across the country. Top of mind, obviously, is going to be the implementation of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which will see cuts in our community to Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and SNAP. So we're trying to weather that and best account for that as we look at the FY27 budget. Not surprisingly, given the importance of trade to San Antonio, just last week I led a trade delegation, my first international trip actually, and we went to Mexico. Obviously very fitting given the close connection between San Antonio and Mexico. But,
Sure.
the review of the USMCA trade deal is going to be really important, not only for the economic impacts today, but also those advanced manufacturing sectors that are on the horizon that we look forward to bringing here to San Antonio. So it's really about making sure that we're best postured for both the economic environment, but also the opportunities ahead.
But you have this extensive resume and from, federal government now to local government. Is there anything that you weren't prepared for when you took the job?
It is, in general, right? When you are committed to public service, you focus on what needs to be done. And I'll be honest, my time, at the Pentagon, I was honored to serve as the Undersecretary of the Air Force, so the number 2 over the Air Force and Space Force. And that I see impacting and informing my work in a number of ways. Not only am I very familiar with budgets, right? As I mentioned, I asked the staff to do a tabletop. At the Pentagon, we'd call these a war game, but here we're calling it a tabletop.
Sure.
We don't want to scare anybody. But really the intent of it, Jason, is, these questions that keep us up at night. And for us at the local level, it really is about these impending budget challenges, right? When we look not only at the economy today, but the implementation of these challenges of, again, cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and SNAP, as well as, right, about $150 million comes into our city budget every year from the federal government. And that's everything from public health to the airport. And so we wanted to make sure we're reducing the uncertainty in our community, be prepared for some of these economic changes. And so just this morning, in fact, we brought about 40 community stakeholders, everybody from mental health to housing to the ISDs, right, to help us understand. Because when you see a change in the federal funding to the city, that is not, exclusive. We'll likely see changes in our partners as well as at the county level. So This was about level setting, working together. How can we collaborate to best serve the people of San Antonio?
But on the ground, when we talk about some of the cuts from the One Big Beautiful Bill, on the ground, what do you expect these cuts to look like for the residents of San Antonio?
Well, I think it'll be, there's I liken it to what the leader of the food bank here in our community, the CEO of the food bank here says, which is that rent eats first. And what that means is I think people will have to make some really tough choices about their economic household, right? And so you got to keep the roof over your head, but that also then means potentially less money for whether that be healthcare or the energy bills, right? Or just food. We continue to see the impacts, of course, of inflation. So again, we are trying to make sure everybody from our senior centers to the other resources in our community that are relied upon, that those are that we're being as proactive as we can be to understand where the changes may potentially fall on the very people who will have less money in their pocket as a result of these federal changes.
Aside from the cuts from the One Big Beautiful Bill that are coming to the city budget there, let's talk about affordability for a moment. That's fast becoming an issue in 2026. Tell us about the economy today. What do you expect it to look like there in the city in 6 months?
Well, and to be very clear, the federal cuts, the implementation of the One Big Beautiful Bill, that's not just a city issue, right? I mean, that's not a city, not just impacting the city budget, that's impacting the entire community. To give you a sense, right, we just lived through what this could potentially look like with the pause and SNAP benefits. Every month, $50 million worth of federal funding comes into our community in the form of SNAP benefits. And so, yes, affordability is top of mind in our community already. The other step that keeps me up is, again, the fragility of our community. $100 increase in the median rent in our community leads to a 9% increase in homelessness. And so we are being very thoughtful about ways in which we can keep costs down for our folks as much as possible, and ensuring that we are telling the story of what these cuts, these changes in the federal funding could mean, not only in terms of somebody's pocketbook, but also in terms of public health, for example. One of the areas I really wanted the tabletop and the community to explore, when you look at funding, for example, for a decrease in funding for immunizations. As you know, Jason, public health and our awareness of it, our ability to react. This is one of the areas where we are the least resilient, but could have the most severe consequences, right? We all remember COVID. And so when we think about public health, it's not just the loss of funding, it's also our ability to respond, which is why I wanted the group to come together and help us think through those things.
You sound like you've hit the ground running here. What does keep you up at night, though?
Well, it is in fact that. It is in fact, how does our community best contend with these challenges in the budget, right? At the end of the day, people got to eat, right? We've got a budget. We've got to, make sure our city budget is shored up. But we also want to make sure we are always centering the most vulnerable in our community, right? If we do that, we know everyone else will do just fine. And so we're trying to balance, again, this immediate kind of economic storm with some of the things that we are well postured to do. San Antonio, we've got 99,000 folks in our manufacturing sector. So one of the things I'm very excited about doing is leaning into, for example, the space manufacturing industry, right? Houston's got the rocket scientists, got it, but you know what? You got to build those rockets somewhere. We build every Tundra in North America, Toyota Tundra. And so if you can build a Tundra, you can build anything related to the very important space manufacturing sector. In fact, San Antonio will host the first Texas Space Summit next year. I'm very proud that we're doing that. And it's fitting because San Antonio is also the home of Texas Cyber Command that was stood up by Governor Abbott. And anybody that knows anything about Texas cyber and space knows that there is no cybersecurity without space security and vice versa. So we are ripe as Military City USA to lead in that effort as well.
For clarity, how do you and the council intend to shore up the budget to fill these holes that are left?
Well, so that is an ongoing conversation, right? And the tabletop. So what I really want also to come out of the tabletop, a key product of that will be, hey, if we did see that 50% cut, for example, in federal funding that helps with our housing efforts here, what is the risk associated with that? How do we understand it? But also, if we are not comfortable with that risk, city manager, city staff, help us understand how we would close, how much it would take to close that gap. And then, oh, by the way, we need some options on how to close that, right? And so this is, again, about reducing uncertainty, understanding where we may have some options, and also understanding how some of these cuts may impact the very partners that we thought we could rely on. So the tabletop will be helpful in outlining the assumptions so that as we head into that budget season, we're pretty aware of the risks, how we might mitigate them. But frankly, more importantly, we are communicating to people about any changes in the budget and how that may impact their daily lives.
Let me ask you about the police department also. The San Antonio Police Officers Association, they decided against this no confidence vote for the chief, William McManus. The union still criticizes the chief, especially with the fallout from the shooting death of Melissa Perez. I'm curious, do you have confidence in the chief?
Chief McManus is our chief of police.
Hey, I'm sorry, he's actually what?
I said Chief McManus is our chief of police. One of the things I think is really important in our community, you may not be tracking it, but I understand you're in the Dallas area. One of the areas that we are doing, one of the things that we're doing next week, in fact, is frankly a vote to take advantage of these two bills that passed earlier in the year in Austin that allows municipalities to move their municipal election from May to November.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah, well, this is an opportunity, right? I mean, we want to save. The city manager at one point estimated this would save us between $800,000 and $1 million. And of course, as you know, people associate voting with November, so we can help our turnout. And of course, the benefit of this still being nonpartisan because it only applies to those of us in an odd year. So lots of reasons to do this. I am not one of those people that just thinks we can wait another time to do this. I think we got to take advantage of it. So I've been working with my council closely. I'm thankful 5 former mayors have supported my efforts to move us from May to November, as well as Voto Latino, the League of Women Voters San Antonio, Texas Organizing Project, et cetera, et cetera. This just makes sense. And frankly, it's premised on the idea that the more neighbors we hear from, the better our government and democracy works. So I hope we get this done for the people of San Antonio.
Just two last things here to make sure I'm clear. As far as the police chief goes, you said he's the chief of police.
That's correct.
That's a statement, right?
That's the statement.
Okay. Let me ask you about changing the municipal elections. There doesn't seem to be a lot of support on council right now for changing the municipal elections. What more is it going to take besides the former mayors, besides different organizations in the community and across the state to convince council to do this?
San Antonio's got a little bit of a different dynamic, right, than Dallas. We've got several ISDs. Dallas had one ISD, and so we're trying to, have good conversations with folks. But at the end of the day, I'm the mayor. I'm not on the school board, right? And I got to do what's best in the best interest of the city. And moving the election from May to November saves us a lot of money, helps ensure we hear from as many of our neighbors as possible. And oh, by the way, again, unique to San Antonio, when it comes to Fiesta or San Antonio, or voting in San Antonio, Fiesta always wins, right? So again,
Sure.
We can help ourselves by moving that election, save ourselves some money, and ensure that we've got the best cross-section of people and hearing their voices, and we do that in November.
But there's still a ways to go to convince the rest of council this is the best thing to do, right?
We'll keep working, Jason. Look, this is, and to be honest, the way I found out about this, actually, I was reading an article in mid-November, when Dallas did this. And I was like, well, wow, that's a big deal. So dug into it because it wasn't flagged by our ledge team. But it was significant enough. And so we certainly don't want to let process get in the way of progress, right? Let's be smart about this. Oh, by the way, I don't want to get San Antonio left behind. Houston is in November. Dallas is in November. Austin is in November. I'm not going to, presume that I know more than these cities or these five former mayors or all of these voting rights groups that have talked about the benefit to our community and the democracy of moving it from May to November. So we'll keep working.
Mayor, it's good to see you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Jason. Take care.